Hi, and welcome back to our unboxing video of the ScienceWiz sound kit developed by Dr. Penny Norman. Now, one of the activities that I bought this for was, as you can see on the back here, the build your own Edison style phonograph. It was very exciting to find that. So, let's go ahead and see what components are included for the Edison style phonograph. So, as we mentioned, I have built a model already. I'm going to go ahead and get that out. So here's our model that we've built previously. You can see it already has the cone on it. And if you look closely, you can see that we've actually gone ahead and made some recordings on here. So let's go ahead and open the components that are found inside. So you'll see the recording cylinder with its feeding arm, threading arm, and also there's already some aluminum foil tape here. Now there's only one recording amount of aluminum foil tape, so you will have to buy more. We found that 1 layer or 2 layers of tape work well. You can cut the tape. I'll go get a separate component here. So we went ahead and bought a roll of aluminum foil tape, which you might want to buy in advance. This is 2-inch wide aluminum foil tape. What we found is that the cylinder that comes with the kit is actually 3 inches, so the 2-inch tape leaves some leeway, about ½ an inch on either side. It can be a bit tricky to get the aluminum foil tape to roll up evenly on this cylinder. Often what you end up with is you start to roll it up, and then by the time you get to the other side, you have quite the overlap. So what we've discovered, and what we'll show you later, are some ways to roll the tape up so that it's a little bit more even. So that's your recording cylinder there, which already comes with some aluminum foil tape. As you can see in this particular one, the tape is a little bit bent right there. That shouldn't affect the recording because we'll probably start recording in a bit. So that should be okay. Just going to put that off to the side. And I'll move this and talk about our aluminum foil tape in a little while. I'm going to put this component away. So, also found inside the housing, this is the front of your phonograph, as you can see here. There we are. So, found inside, this is the housing for that recording membrane. There, it fits right into there, along with some other components. And then this is one of the recording cones. See if it's going to fit onto that. We don't want to put it quite on there yet, but you can see that this fits onto the kit right here. That's that component. So I'll put that off to the side here. And then these bits seem a bit tricky, but this here, this component here, this is the feeder arm. So that is actually going to go here. You can see it here on the kit. There's a spot to put a removable weight on the kit, and then you can see that there are threads there, and those are going to fit along these threads. as this turns, and that's going to be one of the things that moves your recording arm along. So I've got the feeder arm. This is the part I always forget about when I'm trying to do recording and playback, so it's a big thing to remember to put this so that part of it butts right up against that recording arm. And that happens a lot when it falls off. You can see the recording arm here is separate from the feeder arm, and what will happen a lot of times is you go to put this on, put that into the groove, and your feeder arm will be not touching, and it just means that it doesn't move this along. So that's something to remember. That feeder arm is very important. So I'm going to go ahead and put this over back over like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that weight back on here. That's part of playback. So in this bag are a bunch of components. We have, this is the battery housing here, some components that belong inside this, and also one of the interior spindles. So we've got this interior spindle here, the double-headed spindle, and that's going to fit inside the housing. You can see that component right there. See it there? Inside the finished kit. So that's going to fit in here. And you can also see this metal arm here. That is what's going to stabilize and suspend. You can see it here, your feeder arm and your recording arm. See, that's that component there. So that back like that. This back in here. There's a removable piece of cardboard here, obviously. You can see inside that there are some wires to feed through, some wires to connect. Like a lot of kits, I'm not really that satisfied with the battery compartment. I guess it is, once it's completed, I suppose it is accessible. I'll show you here. You'd have to take the cylinder out, which you have to take out to replace the tape anyway. But you can see the battery compartment here. There's a bit of fiddliness to trying to get those components together, especially the wires. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing that has been really tricky with this particular phonograph is the on-off switch. That was really not clear in the instructions. The other thing I've noticed is that you notice that right now it says on because the switch itself, I don't know if you can see this here, the switch itself, it has to do with the space and making a connection, an electrical connection with the wires and the screws inside. So basically the way it turns on, supposedly, is this metal bit creates the connection there that you need between those two wires. But what I found is that actually in the kit, in the instructions, the idea is that when you turn it off, the plastic bit here keeps the metal apart from the metal screw and prevents the connection. But in reality, this metal bit bends so much that the on-off switch doesn't really work, and you end up, put this on here, you actually end up having to hold it to make it work. So here you can see the metal piece here and that screw underneath, and what I've found is that you have to actually hold it in place to make it work, which renders this on-off switch unusable. Occasionally you can get this plastic on-off switch to hold down the metal switch to leave it on, but what I find is easier just to hold it down anyway, because then you have more control over the start and stop of the recording and the playback. So one of the other components of the kit I wanted to talk about before we get into the building phase, which we'll do later, is there's a little bitty white spindle. See if I can find it in this bag. So that's the bits you need for the diaphragm that fit into this bit. So put all those in here for now. We've got the double spindle here. And put some of these other components aside. Slinky for compression wave. Kazoo. Nice magnifying glass for looking at your grooves. Then sticker. There. Sticker to put on the front. Separately. So what I'm looking for, so we also have a motor component, and that threads right into this spot back here. Now these wires join up with here, and that's pretty fiddly. It's a bit tricky to do. But as you can see from the completed one, it actually hooks down into there. So one of the things that we found with our initial one of these, and I thought it was a separate component, but it's not, make sure this feeding spindle, make sure that this feeding spindle is absolutely smooth. One of the things that we found when using this feeding spindle was that in the initial kit we had this part right here had a rough spot. So where the join is from where the mold obviously came in two parts, there was a big plastic bit, and what that did is it caused the belts to not spin properly, so there was a spot where the belt kept catching, and that caused us not to be able to record very well. So in the end we had to sand that down. Now this appears to be fine in this particular kit, but you may want to check that if that's one of the things that comes with your kit. Just make sure that the belt is going to fit and turn comfortably and smoothly in there. So next up we'll actually build our Edison style phonograph. But for now, thank you for visiting Dr. Janet's Science Planet and our unboxing of the sound kit from ScienceWiz by Dr. Penny Norman. Thanks. Bye.